All right, what up, people? Look at that, bang on time. What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gula Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a late night with Chig episode. That's right, not even a transfer rumor show, even though I'm going to talk about transfers, but it's late night with Chig, and you know what we do on this. We talk about anything to do with Arsenal late night. I hope you guys are well. Please do stick a like on this video as you come into the chat. Please encourage others to do the same. You guys behave in the chat room. I know you guys get feisty these days, so make sure everyone is at least welcoming. No one is bullying anyone. I can't believe I'm having to do the moderator. Read the rules of the chat room. But everyone just chill, relax, debate, no problem. But everyone respect everybody else's views and smash those like buttons. I hope you guys are well. And let's get into this. Big up to you, Leah, Melina, Lebowski, Mace. I hope you guys are all well. Let's see what we do tonight. All right, let's talk about it. It's a big story that's come out today. To be fair, I did see the story yesterday. Like yesterday, kind of around about 12 midnight, just before midnight. But I didn't do a show yesterday. Quite honestly, just work. So apologies for that. I'm not doing the show yesterday. But let's get into it. And that is big up to you, Eric. I hope you're well. Bertrand, I hope you're well. Let's get into it. Arsenal Football Club. Supposedly, Raul Sanelli, obviously our managing director at this point, basically confirms that at this moment in time, he's had a call with the Arsenal staff. I don't see that being the tea lady, so I see that more being the players, the coaches, people like that. And what he said is that don't expect us to spend a huge amount of money on players. Now, I must admit, whilst this story doesn't exactly surprise me, I have my doubts that the story is true. Or maybe the story is deliberately a red herring. I remember this time last year, a similar story came out where they said something along the lines of Arsenal have no money or not a lot of money or can't spend over a certain figure for transfers. And that was a story that was put out there, as it turned out, deliberately, so that they can go and secure the Nicolas Pepe signing. Now, obviously, we were in a lot better circumstances as a club and a lot better circumstances, quite frankly, as an economy this time last year. But I remember something was put out like that, right? I don't know why you would have a call like that with staff. Why all of a sudden would you decide in April to tell players that not a lot of signings, not a lot of money is going to be spent on signings in the summer? Something about the story doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm just trying to find the story as I'm talking to you now, because I want to just deliver some supposed quotes. Once again, please big up everyone that is entering the chat room. As I said earlier, please do stick a like on this video as you come in. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Should have really had this ready. I was so concentrated on starting on time. Just because I'm sick of people saying, "Go, Chig, you never start on time." All right, motherfucker, I'm starting on time now. One sec. Just getting the story up. So, apparently, so Raul Sanelli suggests that transfers are not a priority in call with club staff. The head of football, Raul Sanelli, has suggested that transfers are not a priority this summer with club staff. In a video call with all non-playing employees, hosted by Raul Sanelli and Vinay. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that Sri Lankan surname. The Spaniard said is understood to have explicitly played down the prospect of expensive signings. All right, okay, so let me slightly backtrack on what I've said. So this is about non-playing staff. Even then, in fact, even then, how is it that all of a sudden this is widely being reported? Something doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense about this. And actually, I don't see Arsenal disputing it because maybe it might suit them for everybody to think like this. Now, don't get me wrong, people are going to say, oh, Chig, what have you turned into? A club defender? I am just putting out a different point of view here. That when I saw the story, right, I was like, figures. But then when I read into the story, I was like, huh. So this is a video call. Just feels like, I don't know, it feels like something doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense about this. Obviously, as we know, Arsenal are currently being linked with Thomas Partey. I'll come back to that in a second. They're obviously being linked with Jovic as well. Edouard from Celtic. And supposedly we are due to bring in a defender. I think the prospects of bringing in a defender now actually becomes less likely, in my opinion. And also, I'll talk about that defensive situation shortly. So it goes on to talk about obviously some of the pay cuts we've had. And Sanelli, echoing Sanelli, the supporters' trust yesterday warned members not to expect big signings, or sorry, not to expect big spending in the next transfer window, following extensive analysis of the potential impact of the shutdown of clubs' finances. Now, here's where I'm about to flip it on you guys. I'm not surprised. Here's the thing. I think people really don't understand. This is not a case of, this is not a normal summer where you go, what's happened to all the money that we had, and what's happened to this, and what's happened to that. First of all, Arsenal ain't been playing in the Champions League for a few years, so we ain't had that though. You know, eventually some of these reserves are going to get used. Secondly, we've been losing money for a bit. We ain't been profitable for a bit. For at least 2 years, we've not been profitable. At some point, we're going to have to cool down our jets of our spending. Now, yeah, granted, we don't spend a lot of money in the grand scheme of things when you compare it to another club. But third and foremost, and this is what brings me to my final point, this thing is going to impact everybody. Everybody. The only people who it might not initially impact is Newcastle. And even then, I can't see them going crazy. It's going to impact everybody. Everybody. This is not going to be an active window. You know, I find it interesting. I might as well bring this story in. And that is the fact that all of a sudden, Leipzig have, Upamecano has done a bit of a U-turn and has gone from being on the verge of signing with Bayern Munich to now he's extended his contract with Leipzig by a further year, putting in a release clause in his contract. It's just like, well, where did that come from? And actually, I can understand. Maybe Bayern Munich have said to them, listen, yeah, we want this deal done. We can't afford it right now. Quite honestly, we can't afford it right now. And there are other signings that they may want to prioritize before bringing in a 21-year-old defender. So why doesn't he stay with you, develop further? We will buy him for an X amount. Don't get me wrong, I don't know this for certain. This is what I'm speculating. We'll buy him for a certain amount next summer. He stays with you guys for a further year. But in your interest to, maybe they've even included Upamecano in this damn meeting. Extend with a further year. You get even a little pay rise. You get a little something out of it. You stay with your club a further year. You develop even further. Next summer, we'll buy him for even more than what you're talking about. We'll buy him for even more than the offer we've given him. Everybody's a freaking winner. Everybody's a winner. This is the impact. These are the little shady little deals you're going to have to start doing. These little shady shit. Shit that can't necessarily be dragged over the line this summer, you may find will be dragged over the line next summer. And I think that it might be something we explore with Aubameyang, to be honest, because I might as well bring this story in. All of a sudden, Little papers. I noticed the story pop up a couple of days ago. I didn't bring it up because I wanted to see if it had any weight. But all of a sudden now, there's rumours that Aubameyang might stay, just miraculously. That there may be a way that Arsenal can extend it maybe by a year or two and give us kind of an almost in a similar fashion to Upamecano, give us a little more time. We get another year of Aubameyang, and everybody's a winner. Funny enough, big shout out to Claude. Claude suggested this on his channel, on a show that I was on, where he suggested that this may be an option, whereby they extend it a year. We hold on to Aubameyang for a year, and then all right, we're still in the same position next summer, but now we've had that extra year of Aubameyang. Gives someone like Martinelli an extra year of further development. Saka, which I'm hoping he stays, an extra year of development. All our forwards, an extra year of development, and you still have Aubameyang there swinging. That's what you're hoping. But again, for me, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting situation. I think this whole coronavirus stuff is going to impact not just the footballing world, but businesses worldwide. So it is something that, quite frankly, I think people need to almost get real about. Normally, I'd be all over Stan for this, but I can understand this is such an unprecedented thing. But I don't think people realize how badly, even if we return to normal, how badly businesses are going to be affected by this. We're about to dip into a heavy recession. And I think because of that, I think almost the transfer prices will start to return to normal, but spending will also start to slow. And for all of the players, people say, oh, Chig, we're linked with everybody. Trust me when I say this, every team is linked with everybody. But I think because we're so used to the fact that whenever we enter summer windows, Premier League is known for spending billions on players. That ain't going to happen this summer. So to me, I was not surprised when I saw this deal. When I saw this suggestion that this could happen. Does it mean that I don't see us spending anything? No, I could see us spending something. Actually, in a way, I was pleased because I think it will now place more emphasis on us having to sell. We need to sell. And I think if we can sell a player, even better. If we can sell players, even better. If we can sell 8 or 9, that's what I'm looking for. Just to raise some cash and maybe go out and just pick up a deal here or there. This is where you hope that the recruitment network is on point, because we need them to be. If we're going to bring in people over the course of the summer, we need them to be. So I know people are all set to, strike up their banners and say, oh, Stan has X amount of money. Why can't he do this? Why can't he do that? Also, keep in mind, we're not the only team that the Kroenke has in their pocket. Rightly or wrongly, listen, you guys know the way I feel about Stan normally. But this guy has a lot of sporting franchises that are also experiencing the same difficulties. My gosh, he's trying to build another stadium for the Rams that may not be able to get finished, and he's already spent $2 billion on that shit. Don't ask me why he spent that much, but he has. So, he's got other worries. Bear in mind, in America, their situation is peak. Like, I don't know when they're gonna get back to. I mean, I know they're talking a lot. They're talking that big talk, like sport is gonna get restarted. If they don't get people through the door in a very similar way that if Arsenal don't get people through the door, which it doesn't look like it's gonna happen for the rest of the season, they're gonna lose out on a lot of money. So there's a lot of different pressures here because of a very serious economic situation. And that is what people need to put this down to. This is one time, the one time that I personally am not going that stat. This is a situation that everybody's going to experience. And it's going to be a big culture shock, you know, because people are talking big like, oh, we're going to go and get like Liverpool fans, or we're going to get Mbappe, or we're going to get Werner. Yeah, cool. Let's see. Let's see. And even if Liverpool do that, Liverpool have been outperforming us for the last few seasons. Of course, they have money. We don't. We're ninth right now. So I don't know. Supposedly, the forecast is that Arsenal are set to lose 19 million for the year, ending May 2020. And obviously, if the fixture remains played out behind closed doors, then the match day revenue is going to fall by 12 million. Sorry, by 12 million. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Let me read that word for word. The Gunners had been on course for an estimated profit of 4 million, but as the AST predicted, match day revenue would fall by 12 million to 80 million if a club is forced to refund season ticket holders for the final 4 Premier League games of the season and 2 prepaid cup credits. So it's going to cost dough. And I think this is where people were like saying, "Oh well, you know," like I saw on Lee's debate, the geezer with the hat, say, "Oh well, you know, it's nice enough for him to put money in his pocket, bro. He's gonna have to cover a lot of costs just to break even. He's got 80 million to just spend, not to get back, mind you, just to break even." So, you know, you can kind of understand it. There's one time, I'm not trying to say, oh, well, Chig's giving him a pass. And maybe that's going to be the takeaway of this. But I am more, normally I can't stand Stan. If it was up to me, for me, I would want him to go. But in this circumstance, this is the one set of circumstances I understand. There is not, I've said this before on this channel, there is not a person on this earth that somehow is not affected by this thing. I don't care if you're working from home. I don't care if through any other sort of circumstances you maybe lost your job, maybe unfortunately and sadly a family member or a friend has been affected by this and has caught the thing. There is not a single person on earth that is not affected by this thing. So for that reason, this is the one time you have to say, all right, let's hope this recruitment can do bits, because there's nothing that suggests they can do bits. So that I fully understand. That I completely understand. But the one thing I will say is supposedly, even though I have my doubts about this, supposedly Edu is credited with the Martinelli find. So if he found Martinelli, then let's see what he can do. Because he's going to have to be clever. He may have to call in some favors. We may have to defer payments. We're going to have to be creative in this transfer market in order to get through and get by. Whether Arsenal could do that or not, who knows? For all we know, maybe the offer that's supposedly on Atletico Madrid's table is, well, we'll give you Lacazette if we take party. And maybe that's the reason they're hesitating. Maybe they don't value Lacazette like we do. But what do you guys think? Leave it in the chat room. Leave it in the comments below. Again, big up to everyone that is in the chat. Please do stick a like on this video, as I said before. Any donations I've missed, I'm literally just doing a quick scan of that. I will read as soon as I come out of my newsfeed bit. All right, let's kick it up a notch and start to talk about Thomas Partey. So Thomas Partey, he put one interesting, shall we say, post on Instagram where he basically had Arsenal, Man United, Bayern Munich, Juventus, and I think PSG all in this particular post. And he basically asked his followers, who would you like to see Thomas Partey go to? That to me was the final thing that made me think, oh, okay, you lot just want a new deal for your boy. Because why would you jeopardize other deals? If you were really serious about Partey going to one of these clubs, There's no way you'd have mentioned it like that on blast and then come up and say, oh, it was an admin error. Bullshit. You're trying to get your boy a new deal, and you're not particularly subtle about it either. I'd be furious if that's my agency. I'm like, what are you doing? Even if this was some sort of tactic, you guys are not playing it well. You're not playing it well. So that tells me all I need to know. I think now you won't necessarily see me bang on about Thomas Partey, even though he's still the dream signing. But that let me know that this guy is doing these things for the wrong reasons, and maybe for the right reasons for him. And that's his agent is trying to drum up trying to drum up interest in order for Atletico Madrid to really pull out the wallet on this one. Remember, his priority is to stay at Atletico Madrid. And only if he can't stay, apparently he'll consider Arsenal. Um, I think it'll be a big loss. I think particularly in light of Watford, who completed the signing of Papa Gay. I know you guys in my last show did mention that. I'll tell you what, to me, that is an example of Arsenal slipping. How have we been linked with this guy in January for £5 million, right? Which ain't much to a club like Arsenal. This was pre-COVID. All right, we knew the COVID actually broke in China, but it didn't become a huge issue in this country at that point. You could have secured that for the 5 million bag. Instead, you thought, all right, I'll wait till the summer. Now my man is gone for free to Watford. Although his agent apparently is playing some games saying, oh, well, nothing has necessarily been finalized, even though Watford announced it. so that seemed kind of weird. But let's just assume that deal is done. How were Arsenal slipping so bad that they let my man pass by? And I know some people suggested, oh, maybe that's because Arsenal have bigger fish to fry, suggesting Partey. But like I said, for me now, if I went up to 35% last week after his dad's comments, it's gone right down to 7-8%. That I think Arsenal the likelihood of Arsenal completing that deal is taking a right shot. As soon as I saw that Insta post, I was like, oh, okay, I know the game you're playing now. But again, what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. I might as well talk about this because it is a story that the scum are running with heavily, and that is supposedly um, Arsenal are very interested in Luka Jovic. This is a player you've heard me speak about before. Real Madrid striker. Supposedly, he is Arteta's leading candidate to replace Aubameyang should Aubameyang leave. You can see why. I think. Listen, I don't think this season has been a particularly good example of Jovic's talents, but I think we know what the boy is capable of. It's just a case of getting it done now. I like Jovic. He's a player that I would definitely have to replace Aubameyang, to replace Lacazette even, particularly if you're able to do an extension deal where you're able to keep Aubameyang. Why not go and get Jovic as well with that money? This one's going to be quite an interesting tussle because Madrid are very keen for Jovic all of a sudden to stay. I think they've realised, perhaps based on the number of people that are interested in Jovic, that it may be too soon to pull the trigger and sell him. I've said it before and I say it again. Me, if I'm a player's agent, I don't advise a player to go to Madrid before they're 23. It never works. I won't say never, it very rarely works because, their fans demand instant success. And as a young player, you need that time to be able to. I mean, look at the Pepe thing. I think people forget Pepe is still 24, coming from a French league where he's into a tough league where he's had 4 different managers and he's had 8 goals and 8 assists, and people are still on his case. And that's Pepe. That's Arsenal fans. That's Arsenal fans. Imagine Real fans. Real fans are 3 times more demanding than that. That's why if I'm a young player's agent, I don't tell them to go to a Madrid. To be honest, I don't tell them to go to a Barca either before they're 23. Um, Obviously, Jovic is 22, so he's still trying to get there. He's still trying to find his feet. I still think he's a good player, waiting to happen. But how we make that happen is going to be another question. Maybe a loan might be most likely. If we can secure a loan and Aubameyang stays and Saka signs a contract, I'm happy with those attacking options. But again, what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. I didn't really want to talk about this, but I will talk about this. Mesut Ozil. Suddenly it's become news for some unusual reason that, oh yeah, Mesut Ozil's contract is up next summer. Do you think Arsenal will offer him a contract? No, they won't. They don't want him on his 350 now. Do you think they're going to offer him better terms? They want him off the books. And all of a sudden, I think papers have realised, oh yeah, he's up in 2021 as well. Oh, okay, well, I guess Arsenal are going to let him go on a free. And, this seems to be news. For me, if there was a way of making him go now, I would seek that option. But as I've always said, 12 more months, we are free of this Mesut Ozil problem. It's going to be a long 12 months, but let's see what happens. From my perspective, with Mesut, I found it interesting because AFTV asked a question on their Twitter, and it was, how many Arsenal players do you think have failed to live up to their potential? And I said 95% of them. I mean, let's be real. How many of them actually live up to their potential? Mesut Ozil is a prime example of this. Someone who was bought in the absolute prime of their career to fanfare. Fanfare. And listen, don't get me wrong, you've heard me be down on the Mesut Ozil signing before, purely because I thought it was the incorrect signing. We were looking for a striker. We ended up with Mesut Ozil. So I was disappointed, of course. But at the same time, you think to yourself, blimey, we bought a Real Madrid attacking midfielder in the peak years of his ability. Maybe him, not even a peak, the prime years of his ability. Maybe he might be about something. And after the first game, he had this run and he set up Giroud and it was Sunderland away. And you thought to yourself, all right, not bad for your first game. And it's just never. It's like a lighter on a cooker that can't quite light the gas on the cooker. It's always flickered, but never threatened to actually light the fucking thing. And people to this day will still make excuses as to why Mesut hasn't flourished and the sort of things that you need. You guys know, for me, the minute people start to say, oh, well, in order for one player to play well, he has to play with X player to play well, I write that player off. That's the main reason I don't rate Granit Xhaka, because all the excuses is, oh, well, he has to play with Lucas Torreira. So you're telling me he has to play with one player in order to play well? That's why I don't rate Granit Xhaka. That's why I don't rate Mesut Ozil. But for me, I think this Mesut Ozil issue almost solves itself, given the fact that his contract's done in a year. To me, it's not news, and I probably talked about it a lot longer than I thought I was going to talk about it. But what did you guys think? Let me know. Again, leave it in the comments below. Speaking of something that I wasn't really going to talk about, but I'll talk about anyway, and that is Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka has decided to do, I guess, an interview, basically talking up Mikel Arteta and the fact that he's very excited by his style and how he's putting the values back into Arsenal and how he was the main reason he didn't leave. That he was 1 foot out the door. Damn you, Mika. Damn you. When I read the story, he was 1 foot out the door. Obviously, anyone that doesn't remember, Hertha Berlin were very interested pretty much soon after that whole Crystal Palace debacle. Um, Supposedly to the point where they basically made an offer to Arsenal, and Arsenal were ready to accept, and Mikel actually intervened and spoke to Granit Xhaka to persuade him to stay. And as we've obviously seen now by Xhaka's comments, it worked. And he believes now that, I think this is the closest we're going to get to an apology, that there was fault on both sides. I think that's the closest you're getting to a sorry. There were faults on both sides, and that he would like to move on. For me, I've always said the same thing with Granit Xhaka. I think the abuse that he's gotten over the last 2-3 years has been wrong. I think abuse of players is always wrong. That type of shit, first of all, should never be racial, should never be about family. But quite frankly, abuse of players shouldn't be at a stadium. That's the sort of thing that should be on a WhatsApp, on a pub conversation. Because the way I see it, I never understood the mentality of booing a player. Are they supposed to be? Should they get confident because you boo them? Like I've never understood that. Right back from when Abue was booed. I got news for you. I was at that game, and I never understood why Abue was booed. I never understood it. In my mind, I was thinking, so this guy's just come on, and you dickheads are booing him. What is he supposed to now do? Is he supposed to get confidence from you booing him? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Pisses me off every time I think about it. Just like, again, last season, when I actually went to games and I used to see Alex Iwobi get booed with some disgusting racist stuff because half these cowards would never, ever have the balls to actually say some bullshit to a black man in person. And again, what exactly do you expect this kid to go and now do after that bullshit? And to me, again, even with the Granit Xhaka situation, you guys are booing him throughout the game. I will condemn that. Having said that, bruh, you get paid 100 grand a week. Who gives a damn if some strangers are fucking booing him? Like who cares? You never saw a Wobie who used to get worse abuse react. You never saw Abue. Abue cried. Personally, I was annoyed he cried. You never saw him tell the fans to fuck off. And then you refuse to apologize. And now what do you want people to say to you? But again, there'll be people in here that will watch it and be like, oh, what does this guy know talking about? Xhaka's a good player. You don't know football if you don't understand what he does. All right. Fuck it up. But for me, in my opinion, forget the damn Palace situation. Prior to the Palace situation, I'd have told you this guy ain't good enough. Yeah, I'm a little salty that we got him instead of Kante. I'll freely admit it. But at the same time, I wish he'd proved me wrong. I wish he had proved me wrong. And he never has proved me right. Sure, he's become a little less shit since Mikel's come in. I'll give you that. He's become a little less shit. Instead of being a 3 out of 10, all right, I'll give him more of a 5 out of 10. But this is a £34 million player, supposedly. I'm expecting a little better than 5s, mate. But again, what do you guys think? Am I overreacting? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. I'm not going to talk about Philip Senderos saying that he feels that Arsenal should go for Koulibaly. It's like, well duh. And the idea of Senderos saying we need a good defender is hilarious. It is hilarious. So it's like, all right, mate, shut up. All right. Somebody that has essentially uh, ruled himself out of a move to Arsenal is Nabil Fekir. Nabil Fekir says he wants to stay at Real Betis. That is not at the moment interested in a move. And to be honest with you, fair play to him. From his perspective, he had this problem. He had this move to Liverpool that almost quite never happened. And from his perspective, he's probably just comfortable at Betis. He's trying to find his feet again. He's just trying to be about this life again. And you know what? From my perspective, good luck to the kid. I have no beef with him. Fair play. Continue to be there. I think a lot of us were a little skeptical that his knee was okay anyway. So I don't think a lot of people will be particularly disappointed by missing out on Nabil Fekir. But again, what do you guys think? Again, leave it in the comments below. I'm going to just quickly cover my community post just to make sure I've not missed out on any other story. Once again, guys, 65 of you guys watching, thank you, first and foremost. Please do stick a like on this video, and I'll just cover last-minute stories before we get up out of here. Funny enough, I called the whole negotiating swap deals stuff a couple of days ago. Just seeing that story now. Jonathan David, supposedly, I think we know this already, that Arsenal aren't interested in the Genk striker, Jonathan David. He's American-born Canadian international playing in Greece. So, but he's about this life though. He's banging in goals. He scored 23 goals and 10 assists. So he's a bit of a beast of a player. Not too dissimilar stats from Edouard, actually, who everybody seems to want. So yeah, it is what it is. I know Edouard has scored 27 goals in all competition, but still, it's not a million miles away. The last thing I will talk about, and we'll go with this story. Oh, I haven't talked about that one either. Supposedly, Arsenal are monitoring Sergio Reguilon. Reguilon. Let's pretend I've pronounced that correctly. He's 23 years old. Real Madrid left back. Has made 20 appearances for Seville on loan though. And supposedly Arsenal are looking at him for a Saka replacement. No, he's not a Saka replacement. Arsenal probably just looking at him for hopefully competition to Kieran Tierney. I'm not too disappointed by that. I think it's very clear that if we are interested in him, this says two things: that the Kazawa deal is probably dead, and that Arsenal are desperate to get rid of Kolasinac. Because you can't, surely their plan can't be, after all that time and effort of negotiating and coming back with better efforts, surely they can't be looking to replace Kieran Tierney. Like, surely. I'm so convinced this player will be good for us if he's given a chance. I hope that is not the case. But you never know with Arsenal. You never know. And for me, I've said this before. I said this from the get-go. I said, you guys know, I said this from the get-go. You know, when times when Lee was saying, no, he looks trustworthy and that, I'll never let Lee forget this. I don't care. I'll never let Lee forget this. You know, remember when Lee was saying, oh, he looks trustworthy? Raul, that is. Trustworthy. And to me, I was like, no, man, he looks like a Spanish Del Boy, but he looks like a dodgy version. I said that from day dot. I noticed Lee's now come round. I saw his show today. You just never know what these lot are thinking. Maybe they think, ooh, well, if Leicester might be interested in Kieran Tierney because they're about to lose Chilwell, so maybe we might be able to make some money and buy in this Spanish budget version. But who knows? He might be good. I can't say I know a lot about him. So anyone that does, please do let me know. Again, leave it in the comments below. And then finally, let's talk about Oh gosh, I forgot about that story. I'll talk about this finally because I can't be asked to talk about Ceballos, and that is Gabriel Magallanes. Magallanes. He is the Lille centre back, and suddenly, with Upamecano looking like he's going to stay at RB Leipzig, the next big defender that everyone is looking at is Gabriel. Obviously, given what I've just said about defenders, you would think Arsenal, whatever they do decide to do, they're going to have to spend wisely, even if it is limited funds that they have. My suggestion is that they get rid of Mustafi, Socrates. Me personally, I'd get rid of Holding as well. And you can raise that cash and buy a kid like this. He's meant to be the next big thing. People talk very highly of him. Rated about 35 million by Lille. Everton were thought to have offered 30 million plus 5 million in add-ons, which initially Lille accepted, but Gabriel is stalling a little bit because supposedly he's waiting for a bigger club to come in. In England, obviously, he's very interested in hearing what Chelsea have to say, but he's also interested in hearing what Arsenal have to say. So, would you guys go and get him? Is he the next defender? Now that Upamecano has been ruled out, and I know everybody held a lot of hopes that Arsenal would get Upamecano, is this the guy that you would now get to replace, not to replace, to play alongside Saliba? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Also, this isn't just a transfer show, so let me just talk purely about William Saliba. Obviously, it looks like William Saliba, especially if the season is to restart, then Saliba, you would imagine, would be an option because obviously the French league has now been cancelled. PSG today were awarded the league, and they've confirmed all the people that finished second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth in that league. So Mir Saliba is free to rejoin us because he's an Arsenal player. He's just on loan. So that would allow him, you would hope, to rejoin Arsenal. My only thing is I'm not sure if he's registered. I know he's under 21. So I think there's a rule that says you don't need to necessarily pre-register an under 21. I could be very wrong. I am straight up going off Football Manager rules. But I'm hoping that is the case because I tell you what, listen, for me personally, I'm not getting gassed. Like I had a little debate with my mate about this when I put this on Twitter. Right, I'm not getting gassed. It's going to take a long time for this kid to realize his potential, if he's to realize his potential at Arsenal. Having said all of that, this defense needs something. And if he gives us a little bit of a shot of the arm and a little bit of an opportunity of potentially making, I won't say a top four because I think that's hilarious, top five, heck, at this point, getting back into the Europa League, then so be it. We need all the help we could get. All hands on deck. So I think all Arsenal fans need to get a grip and strike a fine balance. Yes, I agree. People should not be getting gassed. Like I see irresponsible people on Twitter talking about, oh, William Saliba is the Mbappe of. It's like, hey, Mbappe. This is why I don't go on Twitter. You wonder why I don't speak much on Twitter? It's because of shit like that. Shit like that annoys me. And my rule is everybody's allowed to express what they want on their own Twitter. I've literally fallen out with people because they're trying to scream at me, telling me what to think on my own platform, right? So the last thing I'm going to do is do that to someone else. However, I'm going to talk some shit when it comes to what the tweets that they put out there. So how can you say how? What evidence do you have to say that he's going to be Mbappe? And at the moment, all the kid has is raw potential. But at the same time, at the flip side of that, also, guys, it's all right to be excited by a signing. I think people are so down at the moment on Arsenal. If you show a little bit of enthusiasm that someone fresh is coming in, you're just like, oh, well, don't gas him, don't gas him. Gassing him, mate. You don't see me calling him Mbappe. I'm just excited about the fact that we have a signing coming in. And if he's going to help us, let's do it. So I think people need to find a balance of the two. But I think also people caution, he's 19. Also, I don't want to start hearing shit when he plays and people start saying, oh, he's shit. Hey, everybody relax. Everybody relax. Anyway, all right, guys, that's pretty much me. It's 11:45 as I say this. Let's finish 12 dead. So that's 15 minutes of Q&A stuff. Everybody be sensible. Chat room, I know you're lively. Please, 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 let's not get carried away. Let's everyone be easy. Everyone respect each other. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Few plugs. Me, Ola, and Will are doing a show on the Combat Show tomorrow, where we're covering all things MMA. We may even break down the 249 card, the main card. So make sure you check that out. So that'll be interesting. Plus, we owe you the top 10 British fighters list because we had to postpone that from the week before. So we'll make sure we'll cover that this week. So yeah, so hopefully it should be a big show tomorrow. So that's the Combat Show. Make sure you check that out. Link is in the description. Oh no, it's not in the description yet. It will be in the description below. Give me a minute. It will be in the description below. Or just type the Combat Show, but instead of a C, put a K for combat. And you'll see our 3 months on there. So make sure you check that out. Chig Flicks, again, just type Chig Flicks in. I just remembered the link is not in the description below, but it will be if you're watching this on the playback. So make sure you check that out. Up to 164 subscribers now, which is great. Let's see if we can edge towards 200. I'm going to drop more reviews on there this weekend because we're just going to keep throwing stuff at you and hoping it sticks. So make sure you check that out. Also follow me on Instagram, Guna space Eagle space I. Make sure you give me a follow on there. Let's see if we can get my follower numbers up on there. Whenever I look at Twitter, I'm 5.5K on Twitter followers, which is good. And then on Insta, I'm like, I think I'm on 380. Like, hey, I realized I don't promote my Insta enough. So make sure you follow me on Insta. I'm going to start being a lot more active on Insta. To be honest, I have been, but not as active as I could be. So I'm going to change that over the course of the next couple of weeks. I think that pretty much is me. I think I've covered everything. So, guys, let me come into the chat room and see what you lot are saying. Let's see what you lot are saying. Oh, there you go. I see Ola in the chat room. Big up to Ola. Hope you guys are well. Sergio, you know me, man. I ain't going to do an AFTV on you. I'll catch your donations. Thank you so much, brother. Everyone join George's oath. Why did you put that as a damn fucking... Sorry, Georgie. I can't ignore a donation. But sorry. Flick of the heck. But thank you for the donation nonetheless. Damn you, George. Mr. Roberts, greetings from Toronto. Great show, Chig. Have you been watching the Barcelona series on Netflix? No. So there's two things I want to watch on Netflix. That, and I also want to watch Sunderland Till I Die. Yeah, I'm one of the few people that ain't catched it yet, and I hear it's proper entertainment. So yeah, I will definitely make sure I catch that at some point. But thank you, bro, for the comment. Support you. Oh, yes, please. Thank you, Asfa. Yes, please. And yes, Leah, Twitter is very, very toxic. Um, Newcastle will spend at least 250 million, said the owner. We'll see. We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. I guess it'll be interesting to see who their first big signing will be, because Man City's was Robinho, and I think Chelsea's was Damien Duff. So it'd be interesting to see, as the new superpower that is Newcastle, um, who would their first signing be? I find it interesting that Longstaff all of a sudden is desperate to stay. Which I was like, yeah, I'm sure you are now, mate. I'm sure you are. Um, you watch how Ola reminds you tomorrow. Make me a mod. I'll make you a mod, brother. I'll make you a mod. Uh, Favorite football movie? Football fan. Football fan. Football Factory. Love that movie. Yes, please. Thank you, Melina. Yes, please. Yes, please. Sunderland Till I Die is brilliant. Fantastic two series. See, I've got to check it out now. I'll dedicate it. I'll definitely watch it over the weekend and just bang it out. Chig, I hope to donate. Bro, whenever, listen, you don't have to do anything. If you do it, great. You know how I do with donations. Always back into the show. But believe me, bro, don't even worry. But thank you. Um, is it true that they're going to relax the FFP rules due to the pandemic? I doubt it. If anything, I think there'll be more emphasis on it. I think that's wishful thinking from us, Ozzy. Chig, have you heard that the EPL may return June 8th? I have. I suspect that's when we'll return in the Premier League, to be honest. Uh, just doing my part. Capone, damn. Look at my guy Capone. I ain't seen you in a bit, bro. I hope you're well. I'm glad you're safe. And yes, thank you. I agree. I agree. I've been stuck on that for ages. It is disheartening sometimes, but at the same time, all you can just do is be consistent and put out stuff out there and reinvent yourself. And that's stuff I all plan to do. At the moment, I'm just focused on my other two channels because I've not shown them as much love as I would like to. So one of the things that I'm discussing with Ola and Will at the moment is just some new graphics and stuff on there. So you're going to start to see a different feel and change to that channel. As you will with Chiflix, that's going to be another different feel, different change to that channel. So I'm really trying to give everything its own identity first before then refocusing on this channel. So I've got plans, bro. Got plans. Not standing still. Elliot, for me, it'd be Tar. I just rate Tar. I rate Tar heavily. Whether we'll get Tar this year, I I doubt it. If you want me to be honest, but for me, it'd be Tar, and it will still be Tar in that situation too. Um, Cheese for me. You know, in spite of being a big man, I'm not a huge dessert guy. I've got to admit. No, I've not. I've not. It's something that I will see it. I've heard a lot of, shall we say, interesting things about Mr. Jack Rodwell. So yeah, I can't wait to go see it. Mr. Hernandez, you legend. Hold on. United 08 over the Invincibles. You can't change my mind. Really? Yeah. Sorry about that. Really? Um. Okay. Especially if I can't change your mind. Okay. I don't agree though. But okay. Favorite football game? Um. Pro Evo. I can't remember the year. '04. Evolution '04. Yeah, I used to be a huge Pro Evo guy. This FIFA thing was recent. And I might go to a Pro Evo the way flipping FIFA's playing at the moment. So, yeah. Oh, actually, yes. What am I talking about? Ignore what I just said. Championship Manager '02 is my favorite ever football game. Shit, you kidding me? I love Football Manager now, but Championship Manager, oh, that was the shit. Chig, you and Ola should start a football podcast. Spoke to Ola about it. He's down. Uh, expressions, and we're on the show. We're good to go. I love having Ola on football wise because I'm trying to save it. Also, if you notice, Will, by the way, if anyone who doesn't know, Will, who's on the combat show with us, he's a big United fan. So you just know for the preview, I'm getting Ola and Will on. Especially the way they fight, that's going to make interesting viewing. So yeah, there's a real, but I definitely like having Ola on the podcast because brings a different energy. This is someone who I genuinely regard as a friend. You guys know, in this particular thing, I think you speak to lots and lots of different people. People who I genuinely regard as friends are Kenny Ken, Claude, Ola, and Lee. Those four in particular. Oh, excuse me, and Robbie Richmond and Stell. Those six, I would say, are genuinely, friends and stuff. People that I could hit up for anything, and they'd always be like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." So I've got a lot of time for those guys, and particularly Ola and Lee. Everyone knows these two are my brothers, so of course, anything. I always have Ola on at any given time. Ben, we released him. Released who? Oh, VP's in the house. I ain't seen VP in ages. VP, I did get your DM. You messaged me at a time I was in a work meeting. But yes, I did get a DM. And yeah, yeah, I'm cool, brother. I hope you're well. You know who I ain't seen in ages? Well, I hope Mr. Gomez is all right. Alex Gomez. I hope he's well. Water's not wet. Okay. Okay, bro. I guess it's dry. uh, Will and Ola. Fam alam. Fam alam. My favorite Arsenal memory. My favorite Arsenal memory, believe it or not, is a draw. Can anyone guess what draw it was? There's a question right back at you. Uh, no, I know Troops a little tiny bit more than I know Kalechi. Met them both. Weirdly, I ran into Kalechi on a tube. He was like, "Oh, I know you." I was like, "Oh, good, because I know you too." There must have been that Nigeria vibe there. I've never been formally introduced to either. I think we've just kind of ran into each other on this YouTube thing, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. Obviously, also Everyone knows Lee's shows makes a lot of headways. My punk ass is usually on there doing something or another. So I think people kind of feel like we kind of run in the same circles, so we kind of all know each other. But yeah, Troops is a cool guy, man. I got a lot of time for that brother. I think he's misunderstood a lot because he shoots from the hip a lot, very very quickly, and I think people sometimes misinterpret him. I think people are going to always have their opinion on loud characters like Troops and Kalechi. But both of them are very genuinely nice guys. I've got a lot of time for Troops in particular. So yeah. Worst Arsenal memory. Oh, I've said this before. I've said this before. What is my worst Arsenal memory, guys? I'll give you a clue. It was a narrow defeat. So what's my worst Arsenal memory? And yep, Leah, you're correct. That was a draw. It was the draw at Spurs because it was like, for me, what I loved about that, and I think Thierry Henry mentioned it once. These lot celebrated the fact that they got a draw, and then they were like, "Hold on, that means Arsenal win the league." It was hilarious to watch. I was cracking up. A little fun fact: I watched that game from my local snooker hall at the time. But yeah, that was hilarious to watch. Man like Bertrand playing Championship manager. Oh, brat! So I know I like. So I know I like this kid. That's how I know I like this kid. I told you before. It's scary that we vibe. Keep doing weird shit. I meant to think, shit, this guy's on my wavelength. Um, who's that? Expressions. Oh, I like Expressions. I don't care if he's a Tottenham fan. I like Expressions a lot. I don't know him at all, but I that's another one who every time he drops an X Files or every time Spurs lose, because of course I watch his show, and yeah, I've got that's another kid I got a lot of time for. Even though I don't know him, I've got a lot of time for him. All right. I've done 2 minutes of OTOT, so I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching me. I know I didn't do a show yesterday, so apologies. That's why I made this one so long. So hopefully this one's made up for it. I'll be back again tomorrow. I, I will be back tomorrow. It'll be a very quick show because I've got the combat show to do, so I don't want to be late for that. That's at 9:30. And I think me and my mates are going to be doing a video call because that just seems to be the way to do things in 2020 at the moment. So yeah, I've got a lot to do to fit in on Friday evening. So bear with me. Back again tomorrow. And if even though the show won't be very long tomorrow, I'll be back again over the weekend as well. All right? All right, guys. I'm up out of here. Take care. Deuces.